Hello everyone, welcome back to Surekha Azure Hybrid Academy. Today we will discuss about ADDS configuration and in that we will create group policies and we'll create users, groups, OUs and we'll apply policies and all. So we'll do the AD lab today. In earlier video, we have configured Hyper-V and we installed Windows Server 2022 and we configured network adapters, right? But today once again we will go through this because in earlier video like Windows Server configuration I didn't show it. So I want to go through this once again so that you can understand more easily. So here we have to open Hyper-V Manager. So here I am typing Hyper-V Manager. So we'll open this. Earlier we have installed lab DC1. So now I am taking as a lab DC2. So before this, what we have to do, we have to configure virtual switch. So here if you'll go to virtual switch manager, here you can create one external switch. See here, select external and create virtual switch. So already I created external 2. So we will take this switch. So I'm just closing this. And here I am right clicking and here select a new virtual machine. Here we will name it as lab DC2. Okay, and here I don't need that virtual machine stored in a default path, so I am changing the path. Here I am selecting earlier we have Windows Server 2022 is there. So see, this is the folder. Here I am storing. I created folder as lab DC2 and I stored that I downloaded virtual machine hard disk. So we'll take that virtual hard disk. Here I am selecting the path. Okay, so here we have to select the path and click next. I am selecting generation 1 and next I am taking the default memory. So minimum 4 GB is required. So I am selecting this by default. Click next. And here I am selecting the virtual switch which we have configured earlier. So that is external 2. I am selecting that external 2 switch. Next. I don't need the virtual hard disk created again because I downloaded virtual hard disk from Microsoft Evolution Center. So I am taking that virtual hard disk. So here select use an existing virtual hard disk. I'm selecting that virtual hard disk. So that I downloaded from Microsoft Evolution Center, Hyper-V Windows Server. Here in lab DC2 I downloaded. So I'm selecting this virtual hard disk. Okay, yeah, open, next, finish. That's it. Okay, now we will start this virtual machine. Right click, connect. Click on start. It it will not take much time because virtual hard disk is already installed OS. So here that OS is not installing. We are just creating a user ID and password. We are setting password for that. That's it. This installation process will not be there because it's a already installed hard disk, virtual hard disk. That is the reason we selected virtual hard disk. If we select image file, then you have to install OS. It just takes like 2 minutes. That's it. Yeah. Okay, here let's get a few basic things out of the way. So here just basic things it is asking, country and language and keyboard layout it is asking. You just keep it as it is and click on next, accept the license agreement, and here it is selecting administrator as username. So here we have to give the password. And finish. That's it. Now it is ready. So that pixel so that full screen came. See here we have to give the password which we have set earlier, right? That password we have to give here and we have to log in. That's it. Hyper-V in Hyper-V virtual machine is ready. Okay, see. Do you want to allow your PC to be discoverable by other PCs and devices on this network? Yeah, that's fine. No issues. It is a lab operating system. Nothing is there. So I'm just selecting yes. But in real scenarios, we should not select yes. It's a lab, right? Just I'm selecting yes. You can close this one also. Okay, so now what we have to do, see here we have installed Windows Server 2022 we have installed and we have set the password, administrator password we have set, and then we have to configure static IP address. So we'll go to virtual machine. Here this is the network adapter, right? So just open it, network and internet settings. Okay, here go to network, change adapter settings, click on here. You can see Ethernet is there, right? Just right click on it, click on properties. Here you can see Internet Protocol version 4, TCP IP v4 is there. Select this and click on properties. Here it's selected obtain an IP address automatically. If you have DHCP server, it takes that IP from the DHCP. But here we are promoting it as domain controller, right? So we should not select this IP address automatically. We have to give static IP address. So here I am giving IP address 192.168.10.11 I am giving, because in earlier domain controller I gave 10. So here I am selecting 11. Give subnet mask by default, and default gateway I am selecting 192.168.10.1, and preferred DNS server, here I am using the same domain controller as DNS server, so I am giving the same IP address. But in real-time scenarios, we generally will not use the same DNS. We'll use a different DNS because their workload will be more, right? And also like for redundancy purpose also we'll use different DNS servers, but it's a lab, right? That is the reason I am using the same server as DNS. So here I am giving the DNS IP, that domain controller IP only I am giving as DNS. So 10.11 I am giving. Just click on OK, close. Okay, that's it. Just close this window, and here we have configured network adapter. So rename the server. So we are renaming the server. Here if we'll go to this PC, right click here, go to properties, it will open settings, but from here also you can open directly settings, but I just showed you from the this PC, anyways is fine. Here it is showing the device name is win-v1e55 blah 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 blah, it is showing. So just select rename this PC, and I'm giving the name as DC2 because I already configured DC1, that is the reason here I am giving DC2. Click next. It is asking for restart, so restart the server. I'm selecting other planned, continue. Yeah, it's a restarting. Yeah, now we have to give the password and the login. Yeah, now we have renamed the server. So we'll go to this and see here. Next, what we have to do, we are promoting it as domain controller. To promote this server as domain controller, what we have to install? We have to install ADDS, Active Directory Domain Services we have to install. So I am going to this server, and here if you see, we have to open this server manager and select add roles and features. So I am selecting add roles and features. Click next. Role based or feature based installation, by default it is there, so just like let it be there. Click on next, and here it is giving the server name. See here, select a server from the server pool or select a virtual hard disk, it is giving, but we need server from the server pools. That is the reason I am just keeping it as it is. This is the server name and this is the IP address, this is the operating system. So here I downloaded Windows Server 2022 Data Center Evolution, right? Because we downloaded from that Microsoft Evolution Center. That is the reason it is a just 3 months license will be there. So from Microsoft Evolution Center we can use that images for lab purpose. So I downloaded that image, that virtual hard disk. So that is the reason it is showing that data center evolution, and I am clicking next. Here what we have to select, we have to select Active Directory domain services, we have to select. So I am selecting Active Directory domain services, add features. By default let it be there, because DNS it takes by itself. Whenever you are configuring ADDS, DNS is must, right? So it will take. We no need to select it, just click on next, 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 install. This installation will take 5 to 10 minutes. I'll pause the video here. Installation completed. I'm closing this window. Okay. After installation is done, after installation click the notification flag and choose promote the server to a domain controller. So I'm going to that server. Here if you see, here you can see the notification, yellow mark is there, right? This is the notification. Click on here, and here it is showing post deployment configuration has to be done. So we have to promote the server to a domain controller. So click on here, add a domain controller to an existing domain. Here we have different options are there. If you already have a forest and we are using this domain controller in the existing domain, then we have to select that first option, add a new domain to an existing forest. If you want to add a new domain, if you see my previous videos, I explained about Active Directory, forest, trees, and child domains, right? If you see that, you can understand. If you are not aware of it, please go through it. Here, if already in an existing domain you want to add this server also in that domain, you can select the first option. If you want to create a new domain, for example, you have a forest, carp.local is there, and you have child domains us.carp.local and uk.carp.local. So here, if you want to add one more domain controller in us.carp.local in the existing domain, you have to select first option. If you want to create new domain, you don't have india.carp.local, so I want to promote this server in additional domain in the existing forest, then you have to select this second option. This one you have to select. See, here it is giving select domain type. See, here you have child domain, tree domain is there. So if you want to create as a child domain, you can select. If If you want to create it as a tree domain, you can select tree domain. And here you are not, you can select if you already have an existing domain, you have to select that domain. Here you have to select that domain. That domain, see here, if you want to promote this as a domain controller in the existing domain, then you should be the administrator, privileged permissions should be there. So you have to be authorized to add this domain controller in the existing domain. That is that credentials you have to pass it here. Then only it will accept. Okay, this is the here as parent domain name and a new domain name you have to provide. Forest name and a new domain name you have to provide here. Add a new forest. See, earlier, like as I told, if you are creating new domain, you don't have any domain existed, this mission itself you are creating as a domain, new domain, root domain. Then you have to, if you have only single domain is there, even that also we will call it as forest. In the forest you can have minimum one domain, and that you can call it as root domain also. If you have multiple domains are there in the forest, then you have that root domain and child domains or tree domains we will call it. So here I am giving my root domain name carp.local. I am giving it as carp.local.com. I am giving my root domain name carp.local.com. I am giving. Here it is giving that functional level of the new forest and root domain. As I told in previous videos, here you can see forest functional level, domain functional level you can see, right? See here forest functional level we have from 2008 to 2016 is there. In your forest, like you have 2008 domain controller is there, and also you have 2012 is there, 2016 is there. Then you have to select the lowest version of the domain, that is then you have to select 2008. For example, you have existing version like 2008, you are promoting it as 2012. For example, you have installed 2012 version and you have configured that domain controller, and you removed that 2008. Then you have to select 2012 because you don't have 2008 version itself is not there in your forest. So no need to, then you have to raise your functional level with 2012. So here select 2012. Okay, here for example I am assuming I have other domain controllers are also there. I have 2008 version is there, so I am selecting 2008. So here also domain functional level, you should not select 2016. This also you have to select 2008 because forest functional level should be domain functional level should not be lower than higher than forest functional level. That is the reason you have to select 2008 only. For example, you have selected here 2016, then you can select. Okay, sorry, I told reverse. For example, you have selected the lower version, then you can select the lower version. So domain functional level should not be lower than forest functional level. That is the reason if you select Windows Server 2016, here it is not giving any other domain functional level, because that is the highest version. So you have to select Windows Server 2016. So I am selecting 2016 because this is the highest level. So I have only one domain controller, that is Windows Server 2022. So I can select Windows Server 2016. So I am selecting domain functional level also 2016. Okay, here you can see domain name system server, DNS server, global catalog, read only, domain controller. You can see these options, right? DNS, it is a name convention, like it will convert from IP address to the domain name, from domain name into the IP address. Here like you have that DC name corp.local.com is there, and you have the IP address 192.168.10.11 is there, right? That IP address will change into domain name, and that domain name will be changing into IP address, that is DNS server. So this will act as DNS server also. If you select this will act as DNS also. So DNS is the heart of the Active Directory, so it should be there. You have to select DNS. If you have DNS already installed in any other machine, you can take that server as DNS, but here I am using the same mission as DNS, so I am selecting this domain name system server. And here you have to select global catalog. So here I have only one domain is there, so I am keeping this as global catalog also. That is the reason I selected this grayed out anyways. You cannot select this unselect this global catalog, because we have only one server is there, one domain controller is there. That is the reason global catalog by default it's selected. And read only domain controller. If you see in the previous video, I explained about read only domain controller. This we generally used it in anywhere the security, physical security is very weak, and also like there we have very minimal security is there, then we can select this domain read only domain controller, so that it is there that administrator cannot edit anything. He can that is only for fast if that in that location users are there, but they want to log into the domain control, they want for authentication they have to use their client missions, right? That time to authenticate, if we have that read only domain controller in that location, then it will be faster. If that is the reason we will use this read only domain controller. In physically weak security is there, then we will use this read only domain controller. Here we have to give the password. So here we don't need this read only domain controller. This is the first domain controller. That is the reason it is not giving the option to select this. and here we have to give the password. So here I am giving one password. And next, specify DNS delegation options. A delegation for this DNS server cannot be created because the authoritative parent zone cannot be found, because this is the first DNS server, right? That is the reason we cannot create DNS delegation. So just click next, and here verify the NetBIOS name assigned to the domain and change it if necessary. By default it will give the NetBIOS domain name. So here it is giving that NetBIOS domain name as corp. And next, these are the database files, NTDS database folder it created. See, here it created C Windows NTDS it created, and log files will be created in the same path, and this is the sysvol folder. These are the AD Active Directory database files. This is the summary what we have configured. This is the summary of the domain controller, and these settings can be exported to Windows PowerShell script to automate additional installation. If you want to add additional domain controllers, you can use this script for import module, ADDS deployment, install ADDS forest, and create a DNS delegation as false, because we were not selected that DNS delegation, right? So if you want to add new domain controllers, you can use this script with slight modifications. And click next. It is checking the prerequisites. If you want to read more about prerequisites, then you can select this and you can go through it. I don't have internet, right? That is the reason it is not opening. You can go through this if you want to. Okay, all prerequisite check passed successfully. So you can click install to begin installation. So we can install this. See here, you can see Windows Server 2022 domain controller have a default for the security setting named allow cryptography algorithms compatible with Windows NT 4.0 that prevents weaker cryptography algorithms when established security channels. Okay, this is the here if you see here, this computer has at least one physical network adapter that does not have the static IP addresses assigned to its IP properties. You know, but we have configured static IP, right? But then why it is showing this notification. See here, after this, if you will go through it, if both IPv4 and IPv6 are enabled for a network adapter, both IPv4 and IPv6 static IP addresses should be assigned to both IPv4 and IPv6 properties of the physical network adapter. So here what mistake we have done? We have enabled IPv6 but we haven't configured that IP address. That is the reason it is showing that notification. See here, the computer is restarting by itself. That installation completed. That is the reason it is installing. It is restarting. Okay, let it be restart. So here DNS auto configured, ADDS automatically installs and configure DNS, verify forward reverse lookup zones exist in DNS manager. So this step we have to verify because we were not selected DNS, right? I told DNS will be configured by itself. So we'll see. Okay, it restarted. So here we have to log in with a domain user and password we have selected, right? Domain user administrator, by default it will create. So I am giving that administrator, and password which I have selected while configuring ADDS, because here it is giving that domain name as carp. So I am giving that domain ID password. Okay. If you see all services, see here ADDS, we only configured ADDS, but here by default it took DNS, and file and storage services also it installed. So DNS, here if you see, DNS server name is DC2 and IP address is this one, and manageability online, performance counters not started. So this is the DNS. Here it is giving the warning, Microsoft Windows DNS server service, DNS server. So it is giving a warning. What it is saying, DNS server is waiting for Active Directory domain services to signal that the initial synchronization of the directory has been completed. The DNS server service cannot start until the initial synchronization is complete, because critical DNS data may not yet be replicated onto this domain controller. If events in the DS event log indicate that there is a problem with the DNS name resolution, consider adding the IP address of another DNS server for this domain to the DNS server list in the Internet Protocol properties of this computer. This event will be logged every 2 minutes until ADDS has signaled that the initial synchronization has successfully completed. But here earlier we saw one warning, right? IPv6 is enabled, but there we haven't configured IP address, static IP. See here, if you'll open command prompt and type ns lookup corp.local.com, it gives request timed out and server is unknown. It is giving, see here it is giving that addresses, 2 addresses it is giving, but we haven't configured these, right? Only we configured 10.11. We haven't this is the v6 IP address, but we haven't configured this v6 IP. So we'll see, open network configurations, see here change adapter options, go to this and type, go to properties. Here see IPv6 is there, right? This one is selected, but we haven't configured IP address. That is the reason it took this IP as the DNS IP, but we don't need this, right? So we just simply disable this, because we don't need IPv6, we have IPv4 is there. So simply disable this. Just uncheck it and click on OK. Yeah, now it is showing corp.local.com. Here the issue is IPv6 is taking dynamic IP address, so that is not resolving IP. That is the reason it gives an error. So now it resolved. See, now if you'll go through it and if you'll type ns lookup, it is giving the IP address. See, server localhost and address is this one, and DNS request timed out corp.local.com, and it is giving here IP address and name, but here it is not showing, because if we'll go to DNS, here we should have forward and reverse lookup zones has to be there. That primary zones were not configured. That is the reason it is giving error. So here we have to open DNS manager. So here we will go to DNS. See, this is the DNS. If you will go to here you can see forward lookup zones and reverse lookup zone is not configured. See here forward lookup zone configured, but reverse lookup zone is not configured. So what you have to do, right click, new zone, select next. This is the primary zone because this is the first DNS, right? So this is the primary zone, and domain controller in this forest-carp.local.com to all DNS servers running on domain controllers in the domain. Okay, this is in the forest itself. You are using this DNS as the primary DNS, but here to all DNS servers running on only specific domain controller in that domain, then you have to select this. That's fine. I have only one domain controller is there, and I have only one domain is there. So I am selecting this, and to all domain controllers in this domain for 2000. Also it is a compatibility. We can select even this also. That's okay. Let it be there. Next, IPv4 reverse lookup zone, because we are not using IPv6, right? So select IPv4. And what is the IP? We have given 192.168.10. So give that IP address 192.168.10, because only network ID it is asking. So it is not asking for complete IP address. So we are just giving 192.168.10. So this is the network ID. Click on next. Allow only secure dynamic updates. Allow both secure and non-secure. I am selecting this and click on next and finish. See here we got reverse. See, 2 entries it came. So we need the third entry also. Pointer record has to come. Generally that will take time, so we have to wait for that, or else you can configure manually. New pointer. So click new pointer, and host name you can select the host name, that is the DC2 is the host name, right? See here host record is A, or AA records are the host records. So here this is the DC2 and forward lookup zone. Okay, sorry, select DC2. So this is the host record. So I'm selecting this. Okay. So now we have pointer record also there. This will convert IP into domain name. So this is the pointer record. Now if you'll click NS lookup, it is showing that request time. Generally it will take time. It takes time, so we have to wait for that. Okay, let's wait for that. Let's wait for a DNS. In the meantime, what we will do, we will open my computer, and if we'll open this PC and in C drive, where it's stored in Windows, and here you have one folder created, that is NDDS folder created, right, for AD database. This is the database folder. So here you have ntds.dit. this is the database file. So everything will be stored here, all whatever users, groups and computers, whatever object you create, and group policies, everything will be come and store here. And this is the temp PDB, and log files will be stored here. This is the log file. This is the log file, and here you can see sysvol also. See, here you can see sysvol, right? This is the folder created. This is the domain, staging area, sysvol. See, this is the carp.local. Here policies and scripts. See, if logon scripts we can store here. If you'll write any script like in the login, once you log in, your mapped network drive should show in your drive. Then you can write a script and you can keep it here, or any of the script like in the logon itself few scripts has to run, then you can keep those scripts here, and that will you can apply these scripts on user desktops. That is one example, so you can use this. See, this is the carp.local.com. This is the sysvol folder. And you can write the policies and you can do it. We can go through it in deeply in coming labs. So just I want to go show you that folder, sysvol folder and NDDS folder. So this is the path. Okay. You can close this, and if you'll open Active Directory users and computers, see, this is the carp.local. Here you can see built-in users. These are the built-in users, and computers. We haven't added any computers in this domain, right? That is the reason it is not showing any computers here. And the domain controllers, we have only one domain controller is there, that is DC2. So that is the reason it is showing here. And this is the foreign security principal and managed service accounts. These are the users. These are the default users. See, here you can see administrator. This is the domain user. And see here member of. If you see the member of, you can see administrators, domain admins, domain users, group policy creators. These are the by default groups. So in this this administrator ID is part of these all groups: domain admins, domain users, enterprise admins, group policy creator owners, and schema admins. So this is the groups, default groups. And see, domain computers, domain admins. These are the users, groups. If you see here, one member is there, this is the user, this is the group. You can see here security group, guest and administrator are the users, and remaining all are groups. See here global and domain local. So see here, if you just start it, you can see DNS update proxy, domain admins, domain computers. These all are global. means forest wide controls are there for these groups. If you see domain local, this is only to that particular local domain. This is not for global, and this is the universal. So this is the users. If you want to create a new user, right click here, go to new user. See here what we will do, we will create a group called finance, and here you can see security and distribution, global, universal, domain, local. We can keep it as a global, okay, and we'll create one more okay. See here what we will do, we'll create organization units. Here you can create operation masters, new organization user unit. So you can create organization unit. That name is finance. See, earlier I created user. This is the finance organization unit, and we can create one more organization unit as HR. Okay. See here in finance I am creating new group as finance admin group. I'm taking, okay. See here in corp, where we are creating this group, corp.local.com, in that we are creating in finance organization unit. Okay, click on OK, and then we can take HR, and here we will create one new group. New group, that is HR admin group. See here you can see corp.local.com, inside that HR, in that we are creating HR admin group we are creating. See here you can create a new user, that is HR test 1 I am creating, and Laga name also I am giving HR test user 1. I am giving here also I am giving HR test 1 Laga name. Next here you can select the password. Any password you can select. You can see user cannot change password, password never expires, account is disabled. Here I am selecting, this is for lab purpose, so I am selecting password never expires. If you select user must change password at next logon, whenever you are giving this user ID and password to the user, then he can log in with that username and password whichever you are providing to that person, then he can log in with that password, and whenever he gives the password it will ask to reset the password immediately. So once he reset the password, then only it will allow you to log in. Password never expires, but in real time scenario never mention this password never expires. These things we should not change, cannot change password. These things we will not keep. We have to select user must change password at next logon. So here I am selecting password never expires, and okay, this is the, see here we have one user is there, one admin is there. In finance we have one, we will create one new user, that is finance user, test user. User 1. Here I am giving finance user 1. I am giving so here we have one user ID is there, one group is there. So this is what we'll create IDs and groups and organizational units. So here if you want to connect group policy objects for this domain, then what you have to do, you have to open, here you'll select group policy objects. See here, group policy management. Open here. You can see forest.corp.local is there. Here if you'll go to see domains, sites, group policy results. See domains, that is the corp.local, and this is the domain controller. See here you can see domain controllers, default domain controller policy, and you can see finance organizational units we have created, right? These are the organizational units. Here you can see here you can apply group policy settings on domain controllers and organizational units, and on domain you can apply. See, on domain you can apply, on that particular domain controller you can apply group policy, and inside that you can apply in organizational units. So define domain controller policy, this is the settings of the user rights management. By default these all are the settings, but we have to change based on our requirements. We will not give by default setting, we will not keep it in a real-time scenario. We have to keep it, we have to change it based on our requirements. Users, domain admins, enterprise admins. If you want to give permission to an admins for editing or reading or whatever, in that reason we have to give the permissions here. If we'll go to advanced, here you can add or remove the users. So if you want to edit the group policy, then you have to right click here and click on edit. See here you can see the computer configuration, user configuration. See here computer configuration, if you want to apply the policies on the computer, then you will give policies, you will apply policies on this computer configuration. You want to apply policies on the user specific user ID, then you have to apply policies in user configuration. See here see Windows settings. Here you can apply log on log off scripts. When a user login, you can apply put the script here, and you can add the policies here. And security settings, here you can see public policy, and these are the software restriction policies you can provide here. And administrative templates you can provide. This is the control panel settings. If you want to apply settings here, you can apply here. And the printer settings you can apply here. This is the local users and groups. See password restriction policies, you can see here. Local policies, here you can see user rights assignment and security options. Security options, you can see shut down system immediately if unable to log security audits, or rename guest account. We can apply like a user cannot rename the guest account, or he cannot rename administrator account, and guest account status he cannot change it. Those settings we can apply, and we can restrict the CD-ROM access to locally logged on users. And these are the different policies we can apply on the user IDs. And user rights management, here you can see allow log on locally. We can restrict users to allow log on locally. We can restrict only administrator only can access log on locally, local user ID, and others should not log in. That access we can restrict. Change the time zone, we can restrict them to change the time zone. You have to go through this one by one so that you can understand easily. And if you'll open the group policy, you can see here that policy definition also it will explain here what it will do. This user right determines which users and groups can change the time zone used by the computer for displaying the local time, which is the computer system time plus the time zone offset. System time itself is absolute and is not affected by a change in the time zone. See, this is the definition. It will explain about the group policy. So you can open the policy and you can see the explain so that you can understand more easily. Here you can define this policy setting, and you can apply that user, on which user this policy has to apply. See, for example, I am applying this policy on finance. See, here you can apply on finance organizational unit itself, or you can apply on user, or you can apply on group. Based on our requirement, we will apply on group. See, specific team members should not change this. You can apply on group, or a specific user. We can take only that user, or specific organization unit. You can select this organization unit. Based on our requirement, we will select this. This is what we will apply the group policies. enter from docking station. Who can do that? Shut down the system. Who can only shut down the system? That is the policy. So this is the policies we can apply like this. And account policies. See here you can see password policy. Here you can define the password policy here. You can enforce password history. See here you can see this security setting determines the number of unique new passwords. See up to 24 the value must be 0 to 24 passwords. So they have to give they should not repeat the passwords up to 24. So this is what it is the enforce password history. So here if you want you can mention, you can change the number, you can change up to 5 passwords. So they can after that they can change, they can repeat the password, but up to that they should not repeat the passwords while changing. And maximum password is like how many days we can that password has to mention it as a reset, like that password will expire. That setting we will keep it here. See here this security setting determines the period of time password can be used before the system requires the user to change it. So up to when they can that password will expire, that setting we will keep it here. And minimum password is minimum up to like when that notification will give, you have to, the password is expiring, so you have to change the password. Allow changes immediately by setting the number of days to 0. And the minimum password length, so up to 5 characters or up to like that we can mention, right? That is what, and this is the minimum password length. So enable and configure this setting when trying to determine the potential impact increasing the minimum password length setting in your environment. And the password must meet complexity requirements. So this if you'll enable it, it has to be complexity, like one special character should be there, one capital letter, one small letter, one number should be there. That complexity requirement has to be there. If you'll enable it, that will be there. And relax minimum password length limits. See, if you'll enable this, this setting controls whether the minimum password length setting can be increased beyond the legacy limit of 14. Is not defined, minimum password length may be configured to a maximum of 14. See here, if you'll enable this, it will we have to mention like more than 14 we have to mention. We if we'll disable it up to 14 we can mention it, that password length. Store passwords using reversible encryption. If we'll enable it, that passwords will be stored in reversible encryption. So we have to enable this. Determines whether the operating system stores passwords using reversible encryption. This is what password policy we can define. And account lockout policy, account lockout duration. This we can like for 5 minutes we can keep it, and after that they can reset, that password will be auto unlock. This setting we can mention. And account lockout threshold, up to like if you'll give 3 wrong passwords, your account will be locked out, or 5, that threshold we can mention here. Recent account lockout counter after like after 3 or 4 bad passwords you have to change the password. So that is what setting we can keep it. So this is the account lockout policy, and this is the Kerberos policy. Enforce user logon restrictions, maximum lifetime. This is the Kerberos policy. So like this we can apply group policies. Thank you for watching. We'll dive deeper into the lab in coming sessions. Please like, share and subscribe the video.